You know what, guys? Welcome to live. If you are catching us on the recast, thank you for tuning in. Everything should be time stamped if you're looking for your particular sign. If you look for the background music that I have playing, if any of it's even coming through, the link will be in the description. But welcome to Rogue Mystic Divination, and I had an unexpected hiatus, so if you've stayed with me, thank you, and hopefully I can start producing back again and doing what I intended to do to begin with. So I am still trying to get caught back up on dailies, and after I do this live, I am going to be recording the dailies for tomorrow, so please be on the lookout for those. But right now, this is going to be the weekly tarot read for a dungeon because it's very dimly lit in here, but I don't want to blow everything out either. And this is going to be the weekly for December 30th through January the 4th, so the beginning of the new year. And this is probably how the new year is going to start. Stops, starts, and eventually everything gets going, but it's the new year, and that's generally how everything goes anyway. That start will end up allowing all of us to figure out a little bit better what it is that we want to take with us and what is trying to let go of us, but we may not be letting it. But right now, this is for the collective for the week of December 30th through January the 4th, and all this is just going to be general. And we have the Queen of Wands, so a fiery female or feminine influence could be coming in to try and make her mark on your life. This is going to be a chance for you to pull out your self-respect and your self-confidence and not shove it in anybody's face, but help them to understand exactly how much involvement you want them to have in your life. Now, since this is a female card, and females tend to have more intimate knowledge of the people that they're around, not necessarily sexual, but why certain things make other people feel a certain way, to maybe try to help them get through it or understand the why behind how it is that they're acting. You're most likely going to be much more able to express that. Now, that doesn't mean everyone else is going to be able to understand what it is that you're saying or why it is that you're putting up a boundary, and they may not even recognize that as a boundary for them. If you do decide to pull back and just almost ghost people or have them come looking for you, understand that they may not be seeing it as a boundary or as you reacting to something that they did. And I hate that because people will just say that, oh, well, there must be something wrong with them. There must be something going on with them, but I didn't do anything. Their ability to acknowledge the effect that they have on other people is still going to fall pretty flat. And for Ophiuchus. For Fucus, we have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. I really want to emphasize with the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, it is a card of rejection is protection. You may have had a good idea to begin with, but whenever this happens, it could be actually aligning you to something that's going to be better for you than what you were trying to initially go out after. And this could also be something that you really, really, really wanted to go for, but it was a very surface level thing because other people expected it of you. You have done things the way that other people wanted you to, or what is it you felt other people needed you to do, either for them or in your life to put you in the position to help them better. And it's almost as though all of those plans just fall apart. This isn't actually because of lack of foresight on your part, however, Fucus. This is because you subconsciously may have been self-sabotaging these plans because some part of you understands that that's not what you in the long run want. And if you look back at how you've acted or other things you've been doing, things that you've been using to distract you from what is it you're supposed to be doing, it may actually end up helping you realign onto a track that you're supposed to be on. And for Aries, we've got the High Priestess in reverse. My entire deck is not in reverse, so for Aries, some of your secrets may end up coming to light this week. Whether it's because everyone is starting to be realigned with what it is their normal schedule is outside of the holidays and the interpersonal relationships. Some secrets could be coming out and others are being constructed. I would not be very surprised if people who have been friendly and engaging with you lately suddenly end up becoming too busy or distracted to be involved with some plans that you may have made or set with them whenever everyone was all family bound and holiday driven. But whenever you put up this boundary or you decide that, hey, I can't do that anymore, and you're upfront and honest about it, Aries, it's going to end up coming off as though you're selfish and shallow, but that's not the case. If these same people were interacting with you in the way that you're now interacting with them because your plans changed, things have come up. There's other responsibilities that need to be tended to because it's the new year, and you should not feel guilty for that. And if other people are just throwing smoke in your face because of, well, what about me? Oh, what about what we were going to do? Things change. And I wouldn't be surprised either if someone didn't have the agenda, knowing that you had something coming up that was going to be very important and very time consuming. Because it does feel as though this week and going into the beginning of next year that Aries is going to be very busy. Even if there's a schedule in place, it may not matter too much for Aries just because of the situations that they find themselves in. But they could have seen that these instances, these situations you're going to find yourself in because they're familiar with them, either directly or indirectly, that you wouldn't have time for them, but they decide that, oh, well, I'm just going to make them look a certain way, or maybe derail these fantastic plans that they have. But they're really not going to be that much of a problem. This is just definitely a person or a set of people that I would not put down as job references. Even if you did, or they had some kind of influence with the people that you're involved with, and you're not aware of it, it's likely that these new people that you're coming into contact with are going to know. They're going to know about some of these things that these people are saying and that they're doing are just to derail you, and they're seeing through it, no problem. And on the flip side of that, it does appear as though there's some very cut and dry people coming into your life, Aries. Now, this could be a connection that starts this week or starts because of something that you're involved with this week. They really don't care about a reference. They don't care about what anybody else has to say. If they do, it's because of paperwork and some other kind of um, overseeing body that decides that, well, they need to have 3 references. They need to have employment history for the past 3 months. They need to have job references from the past 6 years, something ridiculous like that. And the person that you're dealing with directly is, I don't care. We hired you on because of XYZ, and that's all that matters. And it doesn't have to be a work situation, although it does seem very non-emotional, very direct information. And it's going to be someone that you can kind of look at whenever something obtuse comes up, and just looking at each other, you'll know that this person or this situation is full of it and it's not important. You just have to kind of let it exhaust itself for it to blow over. And now I'm moving on to Taurus for December 30th through January 4th. And we have Judgment in reverse. And so far, everything has been in reverse. That's not my entire deck either. Taurus, this is going to me say that you may have set some plans in motion that you may be regretting at this point. Whether it was one or a series of plans or um, situations that you had on the back burner that you were just going to either get somebody's goat, or you're going to sabotage somebody, or you were going to set yourself up, regardless of what kind of position it was going to put somebody else in, whether it's work or just general life. You're now doubting the reasons why you did this, but it may be too late for you to undo some of the damage that. Now, you may not have even seen it as damage because the damage wasn't affecting you. It was more of I'm sorry, Taurus is the bull, and the bull is, well, I'm going to go that way, and if anything gets in my way, it's that thing's fault. That's not to say there isn't a way for you to negate some of this. It could also be that helping somebody else out is actually going to end up helping you out more than you help the other person. And I'm not sure exactly what this is. It doesn't seem like it's aligned to any other point or part of your life. It just feels like it's the energy that's around you. So it could be multiple people that you're affecting like this. Now, I know in this position, because the description is on the card, it's right there. It's self-doubt, self-loathing, lack of self-awareness, but what I keep looking at is the punishment aspect of this and the destruction. Any judgments that you made in the past could end up, even if they were to protect you, Taurus, they may have been incorrect, and your refusal to form a new opinion or see something other than how somebody else may have led on to, like, if somebody told you that you've known for years and years, told you that someone was a bad person and they were a bad person because of XYZ with not too much of a detailed explanation as to why that mattered or what the other person's reasoning behind acting that way was, and you just had a stagnant opinion. Okay, that person said that A said that B was a bad person, so B is eternally a bad person to me. Even if they're nice, kind, and do things to benefit from me, and I have never had a direct negative experience with that person because A said that they were a bad person, they're a bad person. That could be what this is calling you to maybe rectify, and it's not even rectifying it by backpedaling and trying to undo anything that you've already done. Because if you've ever seen a bull walk backwards, yeah, that's not what you need to do. The the kind of power source for the bull or for Taurus is to look at something directly, see it for what it is, not for what they're told it is, but for what it is, and move forward with that information. So keep that in mind this week, and that may be why judgment and apparently the majority of the rest of my deck is in reverse for no particular reason, but yeah. Moving on to Gemini. Judgment and Justice coming out back to back. If you have manipulated the scales of justice in your favor, Gemini, this could be a moment where even if it's the court of public opinion, it starts to backfire and things start to balance themselves out. Like it's like you had your finger on the scale, or if you're a cross watcher for Gemini right now, it's almost as though someone had their thumb on the scale, was intentionally weighting it. It didn't even have to be in their favor, just as long as it was against someone at this point. Whether you're Gemini yourself or whether you're a cross watcher for Gemini, it could be Gemini that was doing the manipulation. But whatever was unbalancing the scale is about to be noticed. If within the past year you've had paperwork go wrong, go missing, be misconstrued, it almost feels as though that is about to be rectified without much action on your part. Someone else may have been acting on a situation or on like a court case or something that was very tactile and real and had quote unquote receipts to it. This is what's getting rectified. But in that process, things are going to almost get turned upside down from the point that you're currently looking at them at. Like I thought this was against me and maybe even thought you were going to do some jail time or face a fine. This is the point at which you get corrected. You're not getting jail time, but anyone who is acting against you at this point may. It may not be you that's getting the fine, but the other person, because somebody else goes through with a fine tooth comb. And I know with public procedure, a lot of this seems as though people just look at the paperwork with a passing glance and are like, oh, this is the kind of paperwork that this is, so this must be what this says, and I don't need to read anything. Somebody goes back and reads what is actually in the contract. And that's what's going to be in your favor. If it seems as though the justice system has been turned on its head for you or not been working for you, it's never really meant to work for anybody. It's supposed to exist and for it to be utilized to help organize thought and action. And if it hasn't been doing that, which I know for many people it hasn't, this is going to be the turning point where things start to, even though it seems ass backwards, it's actually going to be correcting everything because everyone just got used to everything working ass backwards. That's why no one was correcting it, and that was the normality for everybody. So that was Gemini, and now we are moving on to Cancer for the rest of the year too. Don't get too comfortable in the work and the actions of others, even if you're paying for them to be professional and do what it is that they're being paid to do. It's likely that you could have needed somebody to do a job or to do something on your behalf, and Cancer, just because a friend recommends something to you doesn't mean that they're doing it for your benefit. This person may also not be as much of a friend as you think they are. So, diligence and do the research that you need to ensure that you're getting not only what you're paying for, but what is necessary, what that that the necessary things that need to be done on your behalf are being done. That goes from everything from lawn care and housework to lawyers and doctors. Did they run the right test? Did they actually um, file the paperwork? And if this has something to do with medical, I would even say go through your medical bill and see where it is that they may have overcharged you or double or even quadruple charged you for the same thing. Now, this is the card of mastery, so I almost want to say that this is where you're going to be mastering how to navigate the outside world. Cancers are notorious for being introverts and being involved in the worlds that they create, both within themselves and with other people, not just a partner, but family groups, and understanding how those work better than they understand how like the global network works together. But this seems as though this is going to be a time that you need to almost double check the work of others to ensure that you're getting what it is that you're paying for. And don't be afraid to call somebody out, or it doesn't even have to be confrontational. It could just be hey, why am I being double charged for this? I paid for this to get done. I don't see how that was done. Could you come back and do that? That was part of the service that I ordered. It's almost a mastery of navigating, of figuring out how to deal with the outside world. because you know how you work. And if things are going to be, it is that. If everything is surface level for them, then it shouldn't be an issue for surface level things to be upfront and correct and done with no subversion, no, well, around here, this is how we do that, and this is actually what that meant, and like, well, that's not what the language in the contract says. And now I'm going to move on to Leo.